What's up, guys? You are listening to or watching the BruWings and Things podcast. As you can see, there are two people here. Unfortunately, Caylee is living it up. She's living it up in Florida right now, or she's flying back from a great weekend in Florida. So she's going back home right now. She's on a flight, so she cannot make it to our regularly scheduled recording. So we are going to be here by ourselves, me and Alex, and we are probably going to argue. I already feel some tension in the air. So, Alex, are you ready for this?
I'm always ready.
Yeah, you're always ready to make me look stupid. So,
Absolutely.
we're going to see. I'm going to try my hardest to not feel stupid, but you never know.
Well, I wish you luck with that one.
Yeah, so let's just start it off here, okay? Let's talk about the Bruins. I almost said BruWings. The BruWings. The
Yeah,
Bruins
the
and Red Wings.
BruWings.
Yeah, the Bruins and Red Wings. They played each other.
They did.
What was it? 3, 4 nights ago. After
Yeah,
the
it was on
Bruins.
it was on Thursday night.
Yeah, on Thursday night, and the better team won.
Yes,
Yes,
100%.
but
Yeah.
there was one glimmer of hope
Mhm.
from this Red Wings team that I love it. I love to see these. Well, there's really two glimmers of hope for you guys, but the
Mhm.
one that we definitely want to talk about is
Lucas Raymond.
yes, there he is.
Yep. So in that game, the Red Wings played pretty poorly. Overall, their penalty kill is just abysmal. The Bruins capitalized on every opportunity that the Red Wings gave them. The Bruins are an astoundingly good team. But the one thing that was good for the Red Wings was their rookies, most notably Lucas Raymond. I mean, for being 19 years old, coming over from Sweden, not having any North American ice time experience other than random World Juniors that may have been played here a couple of years ago. I don't remember if he was part of the ones that were in. I think it was in like Dallas or something a couple of years ago. I think he was there for those. That's it. And he's coming over, and right now, coming into the game that they're playing actually right now against Vegas, he has 13 points in 12 games played.
That's just beautiful.
It's insane.
That's a point per game. What more could you ask
Yeah,
from a rookie
right. And
on a bad team?
he benefits. Yeah, he benefits from being on the top line with Dylan Larkin and Tyler Bertuzzi, but both of those players have missed a pretty good chunk of the game so far. Dylan was just out for the past 3 games, I think it was, for an undisclosed personal thing. He's back tonight though, which is good. Tyler Bertuzzi can't play games in Canada because he's unvaccinated, so there's games where he's missing as well. So Lucas Raymond has earned the top line spot, and he is driving play himself in just a crazy fashion.
Yeah.
Assisting on his goal in Boston was Moritz Seider, the other Red Wings rookie, who is second in rookie points. They have the first and second place rookie points guys. Seider just actually got his first NHL goal last night, and as the overtime winner against Buffalo. So there's a lot to be looking forward to for the Red Wings, but right now they're getting trounced by pretty much any team with a backbone.
Yeah, and Moritz Seider, I think, is the first player ever to be nicknamed the Juice, right?
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, cider apple juice. So, and it's
Yeah.
fall themed. We got the flannels on, we got the sweatshirts.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually, well, okay. I just got a notification that Lucas Raymond scored a goal. So
There you
now
go.
he has 14 points. Anyway, I was going to say his official nickname that I have given Moritz that I'm trying to get working across the league is Herbie, because the reason he picked number 53 is when he was a child, and they asked him what number he wanted. He picked 53 because of Herbie the Love Bug.
Didn't he just watch that movie or something? Or
Apparently he had just watched the movie the night before. Apparently it's a fairly popular movie over in Germany, according to him. So
Volkswagen, yeah.
yeah. So Herbie the Love Bug. So I'm trying to get the nickname Herbie going for him, but Big Mo, Moritz,
The Juice.
the juice. Yeah, I don't know about that one. We're gonna have to
Yeah.
put a bookmark on that one.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, I love watching young guys come up. Raymond looks really good, and obviously on the betting side. I think both of them were plus 8,000 or something like that, or like
Yeah, so
ridiculous. And now
Cider,
they're
I
leading
think Cider was like maybe in the top 5 in the projected
for
whatever,
colder.
but
Yeah,
but I don't think, I mean, Raymond was up there for a lot of the bookies, but I was surprised going into the season. We weren't even sure if he was going to make the team just because, you know, we would want him in a top 6 role, but there weren't a whole lot of those positions open. Thankfully enough, and I hate saying thankfully, Jacob Vrana had a shoulder injury and he had to get surgery. So he's not going to play until probably February or later. So that opened up a spot for him. So Raymond seized the opportunity, played really, really good in our prospects tournament that we had, played really good in preseason, was really good just in training camp in general. Definitely earned the spot and very clearly is fitting in very well on that top line spot.
I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon.
No, I
I don't
mean,
think they're gonna send him back down.
he and Cider have both played through their 10th game, which means that the first level or first year of their ELC can't slide anymore. They've officially eaten up that first year. So there's no point in them being sent down at this point.
Exactly.
You know who did get sent down, though?
Who?
The Calder favorite coming into the year behind maybe Trevor Zegras, Cole Caulfield.
Yeah.
Got sent down to Laval.
Which I honestly don't understand. Like, I mean, I know he underperformed, but how
Yeah.
old is he? 20, 19?
Well, I think he's 19 or 20. He was the same draft year as Mo Sider. Um, he's a very skilled player, obviously. The dude can score goals. It seemed like, and I don't keep up too closely with other teams' lineups necessarily in the way that they, I guess, put these players out there and the lines that they have, the way that they deploy their lines. But it seemed like Montreal had stuck him on more of a depth role. They had him last year when he was doing well with Nick Suzuki, and Suzuki's been doing pretty good. He's
Yeah,
definitely stepped it up.
love Nick Suzuki.
He's definitely stepped it up recently, but I think they had Cole Caulfield on like the third line, and that doesn't seem like the role that you want him in order to succeed and be, the perennial 40 goal guy that he probably can be once he hits his stride. So it just seemed like maybe a mismanagement of him. May have been a confidence thing as well. Having him get sent down, he's probably going to score however long he's there. Let's say he's there for 7 or 8 games. He's probably going to score like a dozen goals. Like that's just how it's going to be.
That's true.
So
Maybe it's a smart move. We'll see. We'll definitely have to take a look at that later.
absolutely.
Yeah. And someone who can score is Connor McDavid.
Yes, he can.
He can score, but I don't know. Goal of the year, that goal that he scored against the Rangers, one, against the Rangers, doesn't count. Two, that was like the worst defense I think I've ever seen in my entire life. He was 1-on-4. All he did was move forward. He did a little dangle, did a little puck handling. That was like a normal hockey move. He did nothing special. And he walked past 4 Rangers. Listen, it was a good goal, okay? But the fact that the Rangers just sat there and did nothing, that's way worse on the Rangers than it is good for Connor McDavid, I think. What is your opinion?
I guess I wouldn't necessarily disagree with the last part you said. That was definitely just a huge defensive breakdown by the Rangers. Obviously, it was one of those where there was a line change going on. McDavid waited for his team to tag up because the way he curled back in the neutral zone, he was getting the speed. Like it looked like he was just going to break in on the wing. Then he realized that he had guys offside. So the reason I think it's incredible is because you have to look at the timing of where he was able to curl and hold up, wait for the guys to get onside, and then he just jolted in, found the open area, and took advantage of the defensive breakdown. He took advantage of the fact that these defensemen didn't have their targets set up right. They didn't have everything set the way that they wanted it to,
They're
and he made them look
heels,
silly.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he made them look absolutely silly. It's one thing to be able to skate as exceptionally well as he does, but to be able to have the hands to catch up to it and to be able to make just even the slight moves. The slight moves are the ones that are going to throw the goalie off the most. The slight moves are the ones that are going to, get the defenseman on their heels. And those are the moves that he's able to make in tight as quickly as he does on his feet. I mean, he really kind of combines a lot of the best aspects of different players who are more one-dimensional. Guys like Patrick, I'm not saying that Patrick Kane or Datsuk or Matthews or McKinnon, not saying any of those guys are one-dimensional, but they have the one thing that they're really, really good at that empowers the rest of their game. McKinnon's speed, Matthews' shot, Datsuk and Patrick Kane, like their hands. Guys like that, like, have their thing. McDavid almost seems like he has all of that to that level, and he's able to put it together at an extremely high speed. And I think it was an incredible goal. It's one of his best.
I think
ever.
The kid's fast.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was good. Greatest of all time? Greatest player? No, don't think so.
That's very hard to say that right now,
I guess. But also, I just wanted to comment on the Edmonton Oilers as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So, think of an NHL team as a zoo, okay? You need multiple animals in that zoo. You need to have a gorilla, big, strong player. You need to have a cheetah, someone very fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you just have Connor McDavid by himself and there's just one animal in that zoo, and it's a dog or something, it's a shit zoo.
Oh, I don't.
You got it? I'm just waiting.
I don't like any of. I don't like any of this.
I'm sorry. I thought that I had. I've heard that joke 4 weeks ago, and I've been waiting to talk about Connor McDavid and how one animal at a zoo, and it's a dog. It's a shit zoo.
We're gonna ruin Caylee's reputation quite quickly, aren't we?
We're gonna look at our analytics for our podcast, and it's at this exact moment, it's just gonna go down to 0% retention.
Yeah, no kidding.
God.
Yeah, before you click off, let's talk about an animal that isn't typically found in zoos, but sometimes is the Panthers.
Wow, what a segue! We are on fire today.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway,
the Florida Panthers.
They're sick.
I think you can pretty much chalk them up as the best team in the league right now, and I don't know if it's all that close. They are nasty. They're 10-0-1 as we speak right now. I don't think they played tonight. They played yesterday against the Hurricanes.
They play the Rangers tomorrow.
They play the Rangers tomorrow. They're nasty. I mean, up and down their lineup, all the way up and down their lineup. They're so good. Bobrovsky has returned to form. We talked about this a little bit last time.
Worth the paycheck, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing to his contract, which is exactly what they want. Alex Barkov got his extension starting next year. He's playing really well. Although, who has more points than him? Lucas Raymond. It's fine. We won't, we're not going to talk about that. No, honestly, I don't think there's really any aspect of the Panthers game right now that is underperforming. Up and down their lineup, everybody's playing well. Their back end, you could argue maybe is their weakest aspect, but they're still, they're playing incredible. And it helps that Bobrovsky is definitely back to his old ways. So it'll be interesting to see. They haven't lost in regulation yet. Their one loss was an overtime loss. It might have even been a shootout loss. I think it was a shootout loss against the Bruins.
Yes.
So
yes,
that's it. They're nasty.
You can't beat them in regulation right now. 11 games in is pretty ridiculous.
That's insane. I don't know their record as far as that goes. I don't know the league's record as far as beginning of the season, regulation, how many games before a regulation loss. But they've got to be getting pretty close to that number at this point, I would think. So
yeah, I would say maybe a few more games, and then they'll yeah. But they do play the Bruins. Oh no, they don't. They just played the Bruins. Yeah, so they lost them 3-2 in a shootout, and they won in overtime against the Capitals. Yeah, and then they're playing the Rangers, the Devils, and the Penguins and the Lightning. So the Lightning is going to be an exciting game.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good game. I mean, the battle for Florida, we saw even just last year in the playoffs, like it's going to be electric. I really hope that those two teams end up playing again in the playoffs this year because I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's turning into like the Battle of Alberta. It's I don't think I've seen two teams as electric as those two. So it'll be interesting to see, especially if the Lightning can get Kucherov back in time or not.
They probably
obviously
don't
don't need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can wait till the playoffs, right?
Yeah, conveniently.
Yeah.
Never had that happen before.
Yeah. Well, you know who's probably coming back before the playoffs, though?
Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel.
And where is he? He's in Buffalo, so he's probably not going to be doing too well.
Oh, but
Wait,
is he?
I didn't hear.
He's in Vegas, baby.
Oh God.
Wow, I can't. I'm.
You're falling right into like my style too. I really
know.
like
I
this.
hate it. I hate it.
So yeah, he's in Vegas. He is currently bought a hotel. He probably is a permanent resident at Caesars, and is going to be eating at Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen every night. He's just living his life right now. Very excited for him, and the steal that he got, like, or the steal that Vegas got for him. And I mean, I know people have been like, it's been like a mixed opinion on it, but I personally think it was a steal. And I know he has to go in and get the surgery and stuff, but and like right at this time too, when Vegas has like everyone thought they were going to be contender and they're playing shaky.
Yeah,
this is exactly what they need. So do you know what he got? What Vegas got for him?
Yeah. So it was a oh man, it's Alex Tuck and Peyton Krebs, a first round pick for this year, and then a 2023 second round.
Yeah.
But the condition is it's a lottery protected or a top 10 protected, I believe. So if Vegas, for whatever reason, misses the playoffs and ends up with the top 10 pick this year in the draft, everything drops back a year. And then Vegas got Jack Eichel and then a third round pick. And I believe that third round pick is also part of the condition. So all of the draft picks slide back a year if Vegas ends up in the top 10 for the draft this year. So it's Tuck, Krebs, who was a former first round pick, a first rounder and a second rounder. So that's pretty close to what Kevin Adams and Buffalo wanted from the beginning, which was 4 first round value pieces. Alex Tuck, really, really good player, really good second line, two-way player. The guy can put up points. The guy can defend really well. I know he was big on Vegas's penalty kill for him. So they're going to miss him. And obviously Vegas isn't going to get Eichel for a couple more months because he does have to get that surgery. That was basically the one stipulation, obviously, as far as the trade goes. Like, Jack wanted to go to a team that was going to allow him to get the surgery that he needed. Otherwise, what's the point? So Vegas said that they're letting him get it. I don't know a timeline as far as when he's getting it, or how long the recovery is going to be. I know they suggested somewhere around 4 months. So he's probably going to miss the Olympics unless he has like a McDavid level recovery time, like how McDavid did with his knee. And they were like, oh, he's going to be out for 8 months. And then he came back 3 months later and was like lighting it up.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. You're right. Vegas is kind of underperforming. A lot of that has to do with the massive amount of injuries.
Yeah, that's true.
The biggest thing is going to be their cap space. Buffalo didn't retain any cap, and the dude's making a lot of money. Vegas is going to be up against it. They have to make a move. There's no physical.
Yeah, like 9. Isn't he making a lot like that or something?
Yeah, close to 10 million, I think. Yeah. There's no way that they're going to be able to keep everybody. They're going to have to move out. I think it was somewhere in the ballpark of $6 million worth of cap space. So somebody's going to be gone, or they're going to have to Tampa Bay Lightning in this situation.
Yeah. Well, Jack Eichel might just go on LTIR. Yeah.
I mean, he might, but he himself was quoted as saying like, yeah, I plan to be back before the playoffs.
No, yeah. I'm really excited to see what he does.
Yeah.
It's been a nightmare for him,
Mhm.
and I'm very happy for him that he's able to get the surgery he wants, and he's able to get the treatment he wants, and
Right.
also he's living in Vegas. Like, I'm pretty jealous.
Yeah, I'd be pumped if I
Yeah,
were him. I would be
going from
ecstatic.
Buffalo, nothing. I mean Buffalo. I've been there. It's pretty nice. It's cool.
Yeah.
Canada's right there, but I mean Vegas. It's sick. Vegas is sick.
Yeah, you can't knock Vegas.
Yeah,
The whole atmosphere there is just crazy.
yeah. You know what else is crazy?
What's that?
There's a conspiracy in the NHL, and
Is there?
dare I call it a Camspiracy, because I have crunched the numbers, Alex.
Oh boy,
I
I'm
know this
sure you
is your
have.
job, but I've crunched the numbers,
Uh-huh.
and I have figured out that the NHL is highly against the Bruins' success. And now, before I explain it,
Uh-huh.
I have a quick outfit change I need to make to protect me from Gary Bettman, because he has access to the 5G and everything.
Yep.
So now, okay.
For those of you who are listening to the audio only,
Oh
Cam
yeah, sorry.
has put on his tinfoil hat, not
I-
just figuratively, but very literally is wearing a tinfoil
I'm
hat.
trying to position it right so it blocks the most. Okay.
Yeah.
So, here we go. This is how I'm measuring a difficulty of schedule.
Okay.
This is what is ruining the Bruins' chances and ruining their playoff runs. So,
Okay.
if you think about what's happening now, like a lot of Bruins have been complaining about this, a lot of Bruins fans have been complaining about this, and they don't play any games in the first 2 months. They are one of the least playing teams in the first 2 months. They play 19 games in the first 2 months. The only teams with the same amount or less are Colorado, Dallas, and the Islanders.
Okay.
So those are those four. Now we go to the last 2 months of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, what happens when you play a lot of games towards the end of the season? You get injured. You get tired. Stuff like that. And in the beginning of the season, when you don't play a lot of games, you don't have a rhythm. You obviously want to play hockey every other day, every
Sure.
2 days. You want to get in a rhythm. The Bruins have not obviously gotten in a rhythm because they haven't played. So these last 2 months, the Bruins they play 30 games in the last 2 months. And
Quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a lot. The only
It's like a
teams-
30, that's like a 50% increase from their first 2 months.
Yeah. And the Buffalo plays 30, Dallas plays 30, Islanders play 30, Philly plays 30, St. Louis plays 30, and San Jose plays 30, and Vegas. So, that's not unheard of. So you're thinking, okay, so a bunch of these teams are unfavored by the NHL. Well, you'd be wrong, because I have calculated using very intense math and trigonometry and geometry the frequency difficulty of each team's schedule. This is a trademark Camspiracy term. Frequency difficulty.
Okay.
All I did is I take the last 2 months and minus the first 2 months number.
Right.
Using advanced statistics.
Yes, of course.
So the way it works is the higher the number of frequency difficulty, the higher, the more difficult your schedule is in reference to games, in reference to your schedule. So the Bruins have an 11 on frequency difficulty. And I'll give you some more data. Anaheim has a 5, Calgary 6, Chicago 6, Seattle 5, Vancouver 3, and then Montreal also has a 3. These 2 teams have the least difficult schedule, so they play the most in the first 2 months and the least in the last 2 months.
I was going to ask if there was any team that plays more in the first 2 months than the last 2.
So yeah, the closest there is Vancouver and Montreal with a 3 in difficulty.
Gotcha.
So now the 4 teams that have an 11, there's 4 teams. There's Boston, New York, Islanders, Dallas, and Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're thinking, okay, so those 4 teams have it the worst. But wait, we have more. So I started looking, okay, well, The Bruins have had a lot of long breaks. So let's take a look at the long breaks that each team is given throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I took a look, and the Bruins have 3 3-day breaks, 1 4-day break, and 1 5-day break. The Islanders have 5 3-day breaks, 2 4-day breaks, and 1 5-day break. Dallas has 5 3-day breaks and 1 4-day break. Colorado has 7 3-day breaks and 1 4-day break. So the only teams with 5-day breaks are the Islanders and Boston. Now, I don't know about you, but 5 days off in the middle of a season is not a good thing in the beginning of the season because you can't get your schedule. So the Islanders actually have more extended breaks than the Bruins. So what you would think is the conclusion is the Islanders have it the hardest. But you'd be wrong.
Okay.
Because, so Boston, they have no 3-day breaks after December 8th.
Okay.
So after December 8th, they are either playing 3 games in 4 nights or they're playing every other night. They have no 3-day break. All of their breaks happen before December 8th. A 5-day break, 4-day break, and 3-day break. Now, New York, on the other hand, they have 2 3-day breaks and 1 4-day break after December 8th, which is, not halfway per se, but pretty close to halfway.
That's roughly, Usually they say the All-Star game's the halfway, which is like the middle part of January.
Yeah. So, and the Islanders have a 3-day break for Christmas to be home with their families. Big morale boost. That's just like not fair that they get that. They have a 3-day break in March, and then they have a 4-day break in April. Now, that's significant because you know that that's the last month of the season. Now, how beneficial would that be to you've been playing all season, and then you get a 4-day break when it counts the most, and then you come back and your team's rested? That is so beneficial. So, as you can see, without a shadow of a doubt, the Bruins are the most hated team by the NHL and their scheduling committee because they get no breaks after December 8th, and their frequency difficulty is the highest, tied for the highest, of any team. And because they get no breaks after December 8th, other than the Olympic break, which most of them are going to be playing anyway, they have the hardest schedule, and they are the enemy of the NHL, and the NHL has it out for them. Thank you for coming to my Camspiracy TED Talk.
Very, very interesting.
And I'll just give you a thing for you too. Detroit has a 5 in frequency difficulty.
Okay.
So, and honestly, I think it's the teams that they think are going to be really good, I think they give them a harder schedule too, to make it more fair. Because a lot of the worst teams have a lower frequency difficulty. Like Montreal in last place is literally they want them to be the best, so they give them the easiest schedule.
I don't know if that's necessarily true.
Anaheim, Calgary, Chicago, all these teams are bad, and they all have low frequency difficulties, under 5.
My question is, have you looked into TD Garden's event calendar? Because that's one part that they have to work around.
But you could one sec. But you could obviously play away games. Like you could have a long road streak, and you could have and TD Garden is just starting to ramp up, like as are all arenas. Like they're not.
Right.
It's not very intense. They do share.
You have to share it with the Celtics.
The Celtics. But I don't think that is as much of a factor as I think it's way less plausible for it to be a scheduling issue, and it's way more plausible for it to be the NHL has it out for the Boston Bruins. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure that's definitely the case, right?
Yes.
Well, I would ask, is this something that has happened before, or is it just this
So
year?
the reason why I decided to do this calculation for this year is because I've noticed it all the time throughout these past years, and I really think it's been the same. I haven't done the calculations. These are obviously rigorous numbers that take a long time to calculate. So I haven't done the calculations for the past years, but I could guarantee you that they're very, very similar, and the Bruins have almost the same frequency difficulty schedule. Because every single year I'm like, why are we not playing in October? Like, why aren't we playing in November? And then we're playing 3 games in 4 nights, 3 games in 4 nights, 3 games in 4 nights, towards the end. And it makes me so mad. And you get obviously tired. You're going into the playoffs. You play 3 games in 4 nights, multiple times in April, and then you
Right.
go into the playoffs and you're tired, and you lose.
So I would ask you, historically, how have the Bruins done in the past couple of years, roughly?
They
In
run out
like
of
the month
steam.
of April, in the month of March and April, how, like, what has their like average record been? Are they above 500? Are they below 500? Where are they looking at?
I can't say that exactly, but
Okay.
I do know
That
that.
seems like a good thing to look at if you're looking over the past 5 years.
But the
Because
thing
I do
is,
think this is interesting. I think there's something to this.
I do
I'll give you
agree.
a little bit of validation to your conspiracy theory here.
What what I'm saying is that it may not be they may not be losing games like as
Sure.
in April, like you could still win games and be tired, but when it comes
Right.
down to it in the playoffs, that's when you lose your steam. So it may not be completely affected. It would be supporting evidence if they had a worse record in April because they were tired,
Sure.
but some teams just like dig really deep. And if they do have a good record, that's even more impressive and more tiring.
Yeah. The one thing that I would say to you though, the NHL seems to do a good job of giving them the Leafs in the first round, and that's basically like having a bye. So you're getting
Okay,
well rested in the first round of the playoffs.
that's true. The Leafs, where are they? They have a 6 on their difficulty too. So I
So
think the NHL's trying real hard to keep them in the playoffs, but they just keep getting unlucky and getting paired with the Bruins.
that's fair.
Yeah, so I just needed to get that off my chest, and I will take this off my head now.
Well, now that Gary Bettman's back into your head, I think there is something to that. I think it's interesting to look at that, and it's definitely there are teams that seem to benefit more or less depending on their scheduling, and it is interesting to see how um, teams get their schedules generated from the league. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into it, but patterns over a long period of time seem to form. And I will admit that I have noticed that the Bruins do typically have a backloaded schedule over the past couple of years. So that's something to look into, I guess.
I will definitely be looking into it more, and I will give an update. And I would like people to let me know if you'd like more Camspiracies. I'm willing to come up with them and do the research. So let me know, guys.
Yeah, he texts me like random conspiracies about this kind of stuff all the time anyway. So this is good for him. His therapist said he needed a constructive outlet for something like this. So
Yeah, they're all on my wall, but actually over here you could see them. So I'll just take one down and expand it
perfect.
more. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, hey,
Speak.
you want to
Yeah.
get into some betting?
Speaking of addictive things that I do, I like to bet. Or I may be a retired betty. Well, let
Mhm.
me just say this too. I'm 2 for 1. I'm two for
You
one on
are.
my bets. So I lost my Toronto and Ranger bet, and that was only because Austin Matthews missed the wide open goal in overtime, and I won my Kraken and Philly bet, and
Mhm.
then my other bet was the Oilers minus 1.5 against the Kraken, and I got that bet too.
Yeah.
So I actually think I have a note in here if I could pull it up right here. If you were to bet $10 on every recommendation I've made so far, I'm 2-1, so you would have $8.50.
On
That's
top
pretty.
of the
That's
$20, so you'd have $28.50.
well, whatever you put in, like it because you
Right.
lost. Yeah.
Right.
So you would just have $8. Like you would be up $8.50.
Okay. I
Yeah.
I follow.
Yeah. So don't take my advice, but okay. So the Capitals and the who are they playing? I should probably look at that up. The Capitals are playing the Sabres. They're playing the Sabres tomorrow, Monday, November 8th at
Mm.
7 p.m. Now, I'm a little I'm not really feeling much on either who wins or the under over, but I have a player prop for you guys. A prop bet means like a player performance, what they're
Mhm.
going to do in the game. There's shots, there's goals, there's stuff like that. And if there's one thing I know, it's Alex Ovechkin loves to take shots. He has 48 shots in his 10 games. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's basically 5 shots a game. He leads his team by 17 shots.
Yep.
So, when tomorrow you check out the prop bets, go into player prop bets, and click on Alex Ovechkin and then hit over on shots on goal. And it's the Sabres. They give up a lot of shots. And Craig Anderson, let me just say Craig Anderson has a 9.21 save percentage.
Yeah, he's playing pretty solid.
Yeah. So anyway, let me just say, Capitals, Ovechkin, over, whatever the shots are. I don't have the number yet. They haven't given it to us yet. But pound the over on Ovechkin shots because he's going to take at least 6, I think, on Craig Anderson. And so talking about goalies and performance and analytics, why don't you give us some hot takes, some quick takes?
Well, I'll actually give some supporting information for your segment here. If you're looking at the Buffalo Sabres and you're thinking, man, is Alex Ovechkin going to have a lot of shots? I mean, he gets a lot of shots off on the power play. The Buffalo Sabres actually don't take a lot of penalties. So that may be something to think about when you're thinking about, is Alex Ovechkin going to get shots off? I mean, let's not pretend that he doesn't shoot a lot anyway. Doesn't have to be on the power play to shoot, but that's something to think about.
So if you look at those analytics, that's actually good because the under-over on shots is probably going to be lower.
Well, hey, there you go. That is an interesting one to look at. As far as everything else goes right now, I know we talked a little bit last week. I mentioned the Bruins being really, really good at 5-on-5. That's continued. They're still at the top of the league in 5-on-5 expected goals for percentage. They're over 60% now. Last week, I think they were at like 58 something. They're over 60% now. So they just keep getting better. And Chicago just keeps getting worse. They're now at below 42%. A team that might be a little surprising in that category is the Flyers. The Flyers aren't doing too hot. They're actually doing okay in the Metro standings wise, but their underlying numbers are a little bit scary right now. They're not generating the offense that they need to. Ristolainen on the back end. I mean, that trade's tough. That trade was tough when it happened, and that trade's tough now because he's not really performing where they wanted him to. Looking at other teams right now, let's see, the team goals scored above expected. So this is just the total goals scored above expected analytics. At the top right now of the league, we've got the Florida Panthers, and there's no surprise there. They're putting up crazy numbers against everybody. They're dummying everybody, and it's not even particularly close. And then on the back end of that, probably the most surprising is the last in the league right now is the Toronto Maple Leafs. They are minus 13.5 expected goals. So they're not scoring at all. And I saw earlier today, somebody tweeted, and I forget who it was, and I apologize. Their last 10 goals came from Tavares, Matthews, or Marner. That's it.
Yeah.
They're not getting any depth.
They did.
play.
They did score 5 on the Bruins, but
That's fair.
It was two.
But it was all one line.
It was two goal nights. So
yeah. So it's interesting to see how that's going for them, especially with them signing the Morgan Riley contract. They're just kind of putting themselves into a deeper hole cap wise. They're going to have to rely on depth at some point because they're not going to have a whole lot of money for anybody else on the top end of things. So they're going to have to rely on depth at some point, and it's not coming for them right now.
Yeah.
It should be interesting to see.
Let me say something on the Panthers too. You said their goals above expected.
Yeah.
Since the 16th of October, they have 5-1 win, 4-1 win, 4-1 win, 4-2, 5-3, 4-1, 3-2, and then they lost 2-3, but then 5-4 and 5-2.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
They're scoring in bunches.
They're averaging essentially 4.5 goals a game.
Yeah, they're scoring a lot, and they're getting scoring from everybody. I mean, the top of their team right now is Alex Barkov, and he's got 12 points. When you think about how much they're scoring, 12 points doesn't seem like a lot. It just means that everybody's getting involved, which is good.
Yeah, and we know that like teams like that are the teams that win. They're the teams that go all the way. Not teams with one, not a shit zoo.
Yeah, no, exactly. Right. Yeah, you
You
need
know,
to have
you need a
a
full
full
zoo
zoo.
with panthers and gorillas and everything, you know?
Yep. Well, and they've got the Panthers for sure.
Yes, they
So
definitely have the panthers down.
so that's what I've got for this week.
Okay. Well, I think that about does it, and I think that was a pretty comprehensive overlook of all the important things you need to know, all the things that are brewing in the NHL. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I know Caylee wasn't here, so it was a little more insane than usual.
So to
Usually
the
she's
two
a
of you that are still here, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. For the one person that made it through my joke and my Camspiracy, I appreciate you guys. And we will see you all next week. I think we all should be able to be here. There should be a nice 3-square setup. We should be good. So we will see you all next week with all 3 of us here on the BruWings and Things podcast. So thank you and good night.
Goodbye, everybody.